I'm so sorry, I'm so discombobulated. All right, well, let's get. Yeah, it'll be a good one. Well, let's get started with our December 9th, 2021 library board meeting. We will first take attendance. Tony? I'm here. And Alana,
Banana
thank
here.
you. And I am here. And Jody's here. Oh, good. Thank you, Jody. I did not see you. All right, so we'll approve the order of the agenda first.
I move to approve the order of the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any comments? I can only see on the one. All right, motion passes. Next, we have our consent agenda. So we have approval of minutes and we have approval of financial reports.
I'll move for both.
I'll second Tony's motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Oh, good, that one did make it. All right. Thank you. First on a regular agenda, we have the official, Mandy and I were able to meet with HR through the city of West Fargo. And Jenna Willen put together an employment status change to start on December 12th.
You want to just name what the item is?
Yep. So appointment of interim director, approved pay and updated start date of 12/12/21. Are there any comments or questions?
And this is what we discussed this at our last meeting, right? It was,
We did. Jenna did want to make sure that we had an official action item.
Mhm.
And she did set the dates and the just the change of pay within that to make it official.
Leanne, will we also then need to have a motion that this will end when the new library director takes over, or can we just roll that into this motion?
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, you could
Like,
answer that.
the start date of this starts on 12/12, so that some training time. So are you talking about an expiration date of when this would?
Yes, it doesn't have an expiration date. It seems obvious, but could we just roll that into this motion if it does need an expiration date?
I think it says in the comments, interim
Oh.
library director until position is filled.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you for pointing that out.
All right, other questions or comments? All right, it is an action item, so we're looking for a motion to approve this agenda item.
And this is the other thing that we haven't stated out loud. It is specific to the current assistant director. What's your current title, Maria? I just want to make sure that we get our minutes correct.
Her current title is deputy director.
Deputy director. I'm sorry for misspeaking. So I make a motion for an employment status change form for our current deputy director, Maria Kramer, to become the interim director effective 12/12.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. The next on the agenda, we have the approved of the revision of the 2022 cost of living adjustment for library staff. And Maria, thank you for presenting to the commission. And do you want to say anything about that? Or are you good?
First of all, thanks for the talking points that were provided for me.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the commission voted against transfer of funds. The stated reason was that the library has sufficient money in its cash reserve to cover it. But they did say that if in 2022, the library started coming up short, that the commission would consider providing funds at that point.
Okay. And we had talked about that at our last meeting as another option too. So I appreciate you at least going to the meeting and representing the library. So we do need to make a motion. Are there any questions, either for Maria, for anyone else? Because we will need to make just an approval that will come out of our funds, library funds.
Did we approve the COLA officially at the last meeting? I thought it was all pending this.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you deferred it, right? To wait to
Mm,
see if they,
you're right.
what would the outcome would be with the commission. So I think you would want to make a motion. If you're going to approve it, you'll need to make a motion to do that. Yep.
So we could be, staff of the library, this is not a reflection upon you. I'm just speaking as a fiscal person. We could differ from the citywide COLA if we wanted to, because we don't know, we're still not guaranteed money.
Mhm.
This is a really terrible spot to be on as a board member.
It is. I guess my personal feelings is I would like to follow the city's cost of living adjustment for the library staff. But I do understand fully where you're coming from because we don't have a guarantee for next year. And I think it would be close to putting us over budget.
Yes, and I agree. I
Mhm.
would wholeheartedly like to follow the city. I'm struggling to remember, and I'm trying to look for it right now.
Do you need this?
Well, that's what I have pulled up,
Okay.
the, how it will be covered, because Carissa, maybe you can help with that we have funds to cover it.
So last time at the last meeting, we talked about how it's looking like our budget projection is that we will be underspent in 2021. So that's kind of where the ending reserve balance, depending on how underspent we are, because remember, we don't know exactly where it'll land. That's estimated, that would put our cash balance somewhere between 150 and 250 at the end of this year. So, it just depends on where that final number lands.
At the end of the calendar year?
Yeah, at the end of the fiscal year, which follows the calendar year. Yep.
So there's more than enough there to cover
Yeah.
for the following year COLA. It's the years after that.
Well, no, I mean, really, next year, you're going to make a request, just like all the other city departments, to cover whatever it should be. And in most years, the cost of living doesn't get adjusted after the budget is approved. I guess this is kind of an unusual set of circumstances. So that's kind of why things landed the way they did, but that's not really typical. So you go into next year and you'll just request what you need. You know what I mean? To get the same cost of living that all the other city departments are gonna for their staff.
Okay. So this is something that budget dream team that we used last year can
Yes.
address. Okay.
I mean, being under as a result of this, I would think would be a one-time thing, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, I'm not concerned about next year. We will clearly have the funds to it. I'm just thinking big picture, long-term.
I think everybody's kind of in that boat. If
Yeah,
that, you know what I mean?
That's my biggest
Yeah.
fear right now is that everybody is in that boat.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm a little concerned that the city didn't approve it, but based on this year information, I will make a motion to approve the revised 2022 COLA. Period.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes for the approval of the COLA transfer funds. Next, we have proposed library assistant job description update and budget adjustment. Krista, do you have information regarding an update on that?
Yeah, so I'll be brief on this because this was on your agenda last time too. And you all opted to table it until you could know what the outcome of the commission's approval or not approval of the transfer of funds for the COLA. So you've already seen the memo that was in the packet. It's the same memo from last month. So to just recap a little bit, we needed to look at a revision to our library assistant position description. There are 8 part-time library assistants at the library. We, in reviewing it, wanted to bring it into uniformity with the other assistant positions that are at the library, which require at least 1 year of experience in something like customer service. In this case, we would like to revise the position to include a change in minimum qualifications. And as a result of that modification, when HR reviewed the job description, that bumped it from a grade 4 to a grade 5. So if this change were made, it would have a slight budgetary impact. Let me remind myself what that number is. With the cost of living adjustment, that would be a $14,000 increase to change the position from a grade 4 to a grade 5. I still support the change in qualification and the change in pay. I think in this grade or group of positions in particular, I think the more we can save in time and money and recruitment and training, because the position does change over a lot, is worth something too. So if we can, help ourselves get a higher caliber of candidates and make the job more desirable, I think that has a lot of value in ultimately time and money for the library itself. So I would recommend approval, but I'll turn it over for all of you for discussion. And let me know if you have questions.
I want to go back based on reading this memo to my last motion and be clear that it was a 4% COLA. Is that what we voted on? I just said COLA, not 4%.
Oh.
Mhm.
So do we should just re-vote on that to make
it really clear?
Make it clear that
We can
approve
re-vote.
You can do it,
the
yep.
If
4%.
we want to make sure.
Or I would like to amend my motion
Sure.
to state that it says 4% COLA. And then I don't know if somebody needs to
All right.
second that.
I can second that.
So we have a motion and a second for an amendment to make sure that it says 4% cost of living. Any questions? All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, I was want to be clear that people get. So my next question then, so we've approved the 4%. As this request is is the request to do a pay grade after the COLA? So or could we just change the pay grade without a COLA?
So if you change the pay grade, it'll be whatever the COLA is for the rest of the
Okay.
staff. So it'll
Okay.
be that 14,000 figure, because that's what it would be at the 4% that's listed in this memo. Does that make sense? You wouldn't do like a different COLA just for this one position class. I think that's what you're getting at. But let
Well,
me
I'm
know
wondering if we, and maybe you answered it, we might be talking in circles. If we can approve the change pre-COLA, so that instead of going up an extra, I'm not very good.
I see what you're saying.
numbers.
So like,
So the COLA is hopefully, I'm not good at the numbers, but my intent would be that the raise in pay would be more than the COLA, but we wouldn't be doing a COLA on top of that. That would be like a double raise. Maybe. Everybody's got their eyes furrowed,
I think
so I could be off.
I think the issue then is that then you're leaving that position class out of the same cost of living adjustment that is just
Correct, but
uniform
we're
across.
increasing their class.
Yeah, I think if I'm understanding what you're saying,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I mean,
There is concern with that, absolutely. Again, this is a fiscal question, not a specific to the employee's question.
So Alana, is your concern an overall budget hit of $14,000? Is that your
My-
concern?
Overall budget, long-term, I'm not concerned about 2022. I can see that 2022 is perfect
Mhm.
in line with what we have
Be-
said.
Because and this is just a hypothesis, and this might be a question for the new library director, but in my opinion, a $14,000 budget hit is an amount of money that could potentially be handled in a budget cut somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, or a rebudget. out of some other portion of the budget to handle this, if that's what the new director and the board wanted to discuss. So if we wanted to do this, but the salary adjustment, $14,000 is an amount of money we could handle within the existing budget, if that makes sense.
That's what I wanted somebody to say. Carissa, I know that you will not be a part of those discussions, but do you have confidence that these amounts that we've just approved, the 4% COLA and the change in pay grade, can be
I do think
accounted
so.
for if needed be?
I think that more than likely will be underspent in salary in 2022, because I think I mentioned this before, but we already know that you're down one of your major administrators. You know what I mean? You have Maria moving into interim, but there's going to be a gap there. And like next year, I'm guessing it's kind of going to be similar, where we'll have some vacancies, and that's part of what resulted in our underspending this year. So to answer your question in maybe a different way, but kind of the same way, I do think that it's possible to find it in the existing budget, so to speak, and you might find it just fine by being underspent would be my projection. So I would tend to agree with that. I guess me bringing it forward was, also to be extra clear and not necessarily start with going at it from cutting something else. But I guess I think that you will be underspent in staffing again, based on the factors that we already know that are at play at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions for the board or for Carissa? Okay, we are looking for an approval to update the job description and the corresponding budget adjustment.
I'll make a motion to approve that with a 4% COLA.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Carissa. Next on our agenda, we have approval of the 2022-2027. I always pronounce it wrong. It's not loaded. Yeah, the lease.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Let me get my notes pulled up. I'm sorry, I'm switching
No, and I know
analog
this
to
is
digital, so.
either the second or the third time we've looked at it. So any updates that you have for us?
Yeah, I have a couple of things to mention. So this is your second time looking at it. You didn't look at it in November. You looked at it for the first time in October. And so tonight, if I am seeking your approval, and after that, if you are to approve it, then it would need to go before the city commission. And I had city attorney look at this new draft since you all had looked at it in October. So the last time you reviewed it, I think there was one main question asked, and I think Leanne, you had posed a good question about whether or not the information in section 10 about terminating the lease early could go both ways, so that the schools would also provide a year's notice if for some
Unforeseen.
circumstance
Yes.
they also want to terminate the lease, and they did make that change in
great.
section 10. And then the other section that they modified is section 3. So you'll recall that before this was phrased as a 5-year lease with the option to terminate early. And you could terminate with a year's advance notice. Now they updated it to say that it is a 1-year lease, but there's 4 automatic renewals. And the school district told me that they needed to modify that wording because there's a piece of Century Code that outlines that school boards can't have a lease for a longer period of time than that. And they didn't catch that in the first go of this. So that's also kind of why they made the edit to section 10.
Sure.
That they did anyway.
Absolutely.
They would have made that edit anyway from the sound of it.
Okay.
But so we kind of answered your question and had a slight modification from the draft that you read before. I don't see any disadvantage to having the lease this way. It'll just automatically renew per section 3 unless you choose to not do that, and the early termination options are still the same. Does
Okay.
anybody have questions for me
Yeah.
on that?
Any questions? All right, hearing none, we are looking for approval of this 4-year lease. Well, 1-year lease 4 times.
Yep.
I move to approve the lease.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the lease. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Next, we have updates on facility planning.
I have
Oh,
one.
did I miss
little-
something?
Nope, no, you
I'm
missed
so sorry.
nothing. I just have one little comment. So like I said, next, this will need to go before the city commission. So I'll put it on the agenda on December 20th, and I'm more than happy to present it to them unless you would like a board member to present it. That's also great. What would you like to do with that?
I'm out of town, so I will not be around.
Well, I am here, so if you want me
are
to do it,
here and you are willing to present it, that would be
Yes,
great.
I'm more than happy to do that. And John, I do have a question for you about next steps with the lease and presenting it to commission. Does there need to be a public hearing for the lease?
Yes, we'd need to get the public
Okay.
hearing scheduled.
That's what I thought. Okay, and it's like, I don't want to misstate it, but I think it's like a minimum of 6 days
Correct.
advanced notification of
Yeah.
the media, right?
Yeah, there may not be sufficient time to get it on the agenda for the 20th. And
I think if I got it in tomorrow, I think.
yeah, if the newspaper lets you.
Oh, okay, that's a good follow-up question then. So I
Let me
can
look.
definitely like get it on the agenda, but can we notify the media after?
No.
It's,
You can put it on the agenda, but you need to, usually with public notices, the biggest issue is the newspaper and getting it published in the newspaper.
so they need to have it published at least 6 days before.
Right. I don't think there's sufficient time.
Okay.
We'll probably have to go in January. I'm happy to
Hmm.
present it to the city commission in January.
Should we go, do you want to go with that and bump it out to be safe?
Sure.
Let's look at should we look at what the January meeting date is?
Double check the statute for the timing.
I think their first meeting in January would be the 3rd, and their second one would be the 17th.
Will that be the holidays? It's the first is a Saturday? Will they
The
have
first is a
anything?
Saturday.
And generally if it's the second falls on a Monday, then that would be the holiday. But I know schools are back on the 3rd.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I would assume they would be open and having a meeting.
I'm pretty sure that we're open that day. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Because then that gives sufficient time for it to get posted publicly and then to go to the commission.
It would give a lot more time to make sure it could get published in the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this, for any newspapers not listening, this is not a knock against newspaper, but what we've been experiencing is you send the notice and it typically takes longer to get it published than expected. So it might be better to shoot for this second meeting in January,
Oh,
just so you can get it,
okay.
because generally they want it, the notice in by Friday and then they can publish it the following Wednesday. But sometimes we've been running into where you get it in on Friday and it's like 2 Wednesdays after that. And with the holidays and everything, once again, it's not a knock against any newspapers, just I want to get in trouble with the Pioneer.
You're going to be quoted. in here. Well, and I'm okay with whatever. I just want. Just
We
making
can work
sure.
out those details Like, do we need that in our motion for when it's going to the commission, or is it a matter of timing?
You could just direct the staff to take care of it and get it on the agenda, because I can help put together the notice that goes in the newspaper, and we can get it published pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yep. Aim for the 17th. Yep, that sounds good.
So do we need to?
I don't think
I'll
we
just give
need,
you direction
yep,
to,
we'll do it. We'll get it on.
Okay.
Yep.
perfect. Thank you. Anything else regarding the lease?
I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Updates on facility planning?
I just put this on here so you guys could have another opportunity to, refresh and go back to any conversations about that you might want to.
I don't think
from
I
the
have
last
any,
meeting.
I don't have any updates right now.
Okay.
Has anybody talked to the commission?
Mm-mm.
And there shouldn't be updates.
Right.
Is there a plan to talk to the commission?
I think that was directed towards me, I think,
Okay.
right? last meeting, but
Okay,
I've been working with HR on the,
no, that's
Sorry.
fine. Just making sure we're following the path we set. So
Mhm.
that's great.
okay. Director's report?
Sorry. Little technical glitches. I'm getting myself sorted. So I have just a few things. As you know, my last day is December 22nd. And so I just wanted to mention that again. I just want to say thanks again to the library board and to staff, and especially in the last month working through this transition. And I want to say a big thank you to Maria. She's been getting a lot of information from me and doing a handoff of things to her. So I just want to give a big shout out to Maria and say thanks. Maria is going to plan to kind of revamp the monthly board report that's always in your packet to better align with providing you updates on how things are going with progress on each of the 4 strategic plan goals. 2022 is actually the start of the actual period of the strategic plan. So we kind of got a running start in being able to have partner discussions and do planning for what we are going to do in the coming year. So in that spirit, I have a few updates on work we've been doing that ties into 3 of our 4 strategic plan community goals. So the first goal in our strategic plan is parents have services for their families in close and convenient locations in order to maximize the library resources available to them. And I have one cool update that I want to share. And if you've been part of the library for a while, you've already heard me talk about this at various points, except this project turned out to be a lot bigger undertaking than the school district or the library thought that it would be actually. And so it's just now finally getting implemented. But we partnered with the school district to provide library cards to 6th through 12th graders. They could opt into it at the point of registering. So over 5,000 6th through 12th graders now have student IDs that also function as their public library card. So what an awesome way to build in convenience into our young people's lives and parents' lives by they don't even have to have a separate card. Their ID just works as their library card. So there's a lot of great opportunities now for us to help them better leverage the resources that we have. So
I just love that.
it's awesome.
Working in a school, I just think that's such a great collaboration between the district and the library. And it's good for kids. Thank you.
We are excited about it. And we just kind of officially implemented it in our system. And so students have been coming in and trying to get library cards, and we haven't done public promotion of it yet. That's the next step of it. But they come in and, they're trying to sign up for a library card, and we're like, do you have your student ID? And they're like, what? It already is. So it's been pretty fun. So thank you. We're excited about that project too. Goal number 2 of our strategic plan is children birth to age 5 develop literacy and social skills that ensure they are ready for kindergarten. At the last board meeting, I updated you all that we started a 1,000 books before kindergarten program, and we had our launch event for starting that program in November. We have about 100 kids registered in the program so far. And some have already started reaching reading milestones. We've had some 100 book readers already, which is awesome. And so far, about 85% of the kids registered are not enrolled in formal pre-K. So we are tracking that metric because that's one of our key metrics for gauging whether we're actually reaching the most in-need audience with this program, because there's a lot of kids not enrolled in any formal pre-K in West Fargo, and many who don't meet kindergarten readiness standards when they start. So I wanted to share that statistic with you. Staff have also done a lot of direct outreach to home daycares at the start of this new program to keep that reach to that same audience going. And in doing so, we've, even learned a lot more just about how little local or state resources there are for home daycares in terms of helping them help their kids get ready for kindergarten. So the services of the public library in this work in West Fargo are really important. Maria did an impact interview with a daycare provider recently who has been a longtime recipient of our daycare storytime programs where we do outreach to daycares. And I snipped this quote out of the interview, but she said, it's literally a mini preschool session. And she just loves it because it adds a lot of value to, and for her, she's a business owner. It helps her kind of level up what she can provide to her parents. And so she was really excited about that. So I think that's a great reflection of kind of where we're headed and the importance of that goal in that program. So my final goal, little summary update that I'm going to give you is around goal 3. Goal 3 is teens develop personal interests, build life skills, and gain real world experiences that ensure they are confident and prepared for their futures. So we have been figuring out what our first steps are going to be on this goal by having some partner conversations. So Maria has been participating in a visioning group that the school district established called the Academies of West Fargo. So it's a group that's getting together and it's stakeholders from different organizations in the community trying to figure out how to transition the school district to having a career academy model for their high school students. So students can be actively immersed in curriculum related to different career fields as they progress through high school. So they haven't fully implemented anything like that yet, but that's the direction that the school district is going. So Maria's been participating in that. And obviously that's really directly related to this goal. And we've also been having conversations with Dr. Denise Jonas, who is the Career and Technical Education Director at the school district. So kind of out of both of those things, some next steps have emerged for things that we're going to start in winter and spring related to service for older youth. One is we're going to up our recruitment of teen volunteers to work at the library. Another thing we're going to do is work on establishing something called a teen advisory board, which is a pretty common program in public libraries that is a way to engage teens. And what it is they, in part, they meet to socialize outside of school, but it's also an opportunity for them to be leaders in planning teen activities at the library. So it helps them build those leadership skills and some of those teen volunteers to work at the library. Another thing we're going to do is work on establishing something called a teen advisory board, which is a pretty common program in public libraries that is a way to engage teens. And what it is they, in part, they meet to socialize outside of school, but it's also an opportunity for them to be leaders in planning teen activities at the library. So it helps them build those leadership skills. And some of those teen volunteers to work at the library. Another thing we're going to do is work on establishing something called a teen advisory board, which is a pretty common program in public libraries that is a way to engage teens. And what it is they, in part, they need to socialize outside of school, but it's also an opportunity for them to be leaders in planning teen activities at the library. So it helps them build those leadership skills and some of those teen volunteers to work at the library. Well, I'm a little scared to continue my Okay, well, continuing this director's report, we are also planning to start offering some SAT and ACT study sessions too. And then some basic career skill building opportunities. So like learning how to interview and write resumes. One thing we learned in talking to partners in the school district is that like kids' ability to have access to opportunities to build those skills and have study support like that really varies widely across the district and demographics across the district. So us kind of filling that gap is important. And I have one other super exciting thing that I just got a call about today. I mentioned before that we had applied for an Otto Bremer grant to hire teen interns for summer 2022 to work both on the Little Red Reading Bus route and in the library. And we have been awarded $18,000 to hire those teen interns. And it also includes purchasing of some really awesome mobile play equipment for youth use both in the library and outside. So I was super excited about that. It hits on so many of our strategic plan goals. So, and I think it'll really improve the summer program yet again, even more. So awesome news. Yeah, we applied for that grant through the Friends of the Library. So they are actually the ones who are awarded it, but yay, us. So my last thing is just I've been having a ton of transition meetings on budgets and the board and like long-term planning with Maria. And we have a meeting, me, Maria, Alana, and Leanne to talk through the budget planning process and kind of how that went last year and kind of what it could look like next year moving forward in 2022, because we tried a new process in 2021 while planning for the next year's budget where we involved a team of people, city staff and library board reps and commission reps to work on reviewing drafts of the budget together as a group. And I think keeping that direct engagement between the commission and the board and keeping them directly involved is going to be really important going forward for you guys as you work on those big initiatives like the budget and the building and all that stuff. So like I said last month, it's just been a pleasure to serve the people of West Fargo and to get to work with all of you. And I will miss you all terribly. And I'm really grateful for getting to work with you and pushing the library forward in some new ways. And just working with this awesome team, there's just nothing like it. So I just want to say thanks.
Thank you for all you've done for the library and for the city.
Thanks,
It's been
Leanne.
a pleasure.
Thanks, Leanne.
All right, any questions about the director's report? All right, any other business or anything else?
Kirsten's going to do a programming update.
Oh, yes.
I didn't say that when I started, so I'm
Let's
sorry.
do that too.
You can hear me talk.
Repeat it back. How do I lift this thing again?
Oh, I'm too short.
Yeah, sorry, I got you on a few inches.
This little button.
Oh, okay, thank you. Perfect, you rock. All right, so 1 second while I pull up my slides for you all. Don't worry, Jody, I'll hook you up too.
I can see it. Looks great.
You can? Okay, great. Amazing. I don't have to share it on Zoom. That's confusing to me, but we will go with it. I will take the win and keep rolling. So good evening, everybody. I am Kirsten Hedigan, the Adult Services Manager at the West Fargo Public Library. It's been a few months since I've gotten to talk to all of you, so I have some fun things to share that programming staff have executed and that we have around the corner for us. So actually, a couple of these pictures right here on this slide are from the Ready to Read launch that Carissa was talking about. So exciting, fun times. Lots of families came in, got some cupcakes, hung out with us, signed up for the program, and got a bunch of fun resources. First thing I will share is a collaborative program that we are doing across the entire programming team and the library. It was launched on November 28th. It's our Holidays of the World Scavenger Hunt. It's a passive program that will run through into the new year. It is something interactive for everybody to take part of. If you stop by the service desk, we have activity packets, and then there's 8 stations around the library that you can go find, learn about the 8 different holidays. The holidays span from November through January, so covering a bunch of world holidays that occur in this season of the year. And so there's more information about each of those holidays at those stations, as well as some activities and books for you to check out about each of them. So there's a little bit of everything for for anybody who wants to participate. So, and once you finish up the activities, there's just a list on the back page and a survey that you can turn in, and then you get a very fun treat of a candy cane. So you can just stop by the service desk to pick one of those up too. On the adult services side of programs, we had a handful of standalone programs, as well as our recurring staple programs that continue all year round. Jackie Marler, a program assistant at the library, held an introduction to family history, which helps patrons start to build out their family tree and showcases all of the resources we have that help further genealogical research about your family, other people's families, however you want to do. So that is something that she also offers annually. Typically, we have different genealogy programs throughout the year as well. We also held a beginner pine needle basketry class. It's hosted by Eileen McEnroe. She's been a staple of a beginner class that we've had at the library for several years. And she also hosts the pine needle sew and chat opportunity for those that make their baskets on Saturday. They can come back on Sunday and share their projects with other people that are big fans of the hobby and the skill. So then we also had a tribute to Veterans Day in November. We showed Leave No Trace, which is a movie about a veteran who returns back from the Iraq War, and it explores how his PTSD sort of affects the rest of his life and the impacts of that on all parts of his life. What else do I have to share? Our 4 book clubs continue to have a healthy attendance. We are constantly getting new faces in our clubs, which is very exciting. We have our most recent ad is the Books and Brews Club, which is a collaboration with us, Ferguson Books, and Thunder Coffee. It takes place at Thunder Coffee. So that one has a little bit of a different crowd. We have people that are aging from their early 20s to people that are retired. We have sometimes generations that are coming out of this at that book club too. So it's kind of fun to see a whole array that we have that come to socialize with that one. Technology tutoring is still going. We've seen a little bit of a seasonal decline with that service. As we get around the holidays, people get a little busier thinking about other things that they want to be working on. But that is continuing to be a well-appreciated service that we have at the library. Those that are using it are ecstatic that we have that opportunity for people to spend time one-on-one working on whatever they're working on. On the youth program side of the team, story times on-site and off-site are still going strong. The Wednesday whole family story time continues to attract new families as well. We've had a lot of glowing feedback. I often work the circulation desk on Wednesday mornings, and we get a lot of new people that come in that are excited that have heard about it around town, whether that's in a parent Facebook group or something, but coming in and having a great time as well. A quick update actually on Ready to Read. We have officially 165 readers registered over the last 2 months since we started that 1,000 books before kindergarten program. Lauren also hosted a teen cupcake decorating class in November, which is continuing that youth services effort to build a solid foundation for programs and services for teens at the library. She had 4 very excited teens that got to learn about different piping techniques and created some really fun and beautiful cupcakes. Lauren even shared one with me, so it was a win for me as well. Lastly, the Little Red Reading Bus pop-up at South Elementary was an indoor pilot variation of our outdoor pop-up library model. The youth services team was indoors at South Elementary with more board games, Legos, other activities and ways for attendees to mostly socialize with each other, as well as check out books, although that was a lesser of a focus since they're doing more games and things like that. The food donor partnership also was still continued with us moving indoors as well. As we look to the future, most immediately starting in January, we will be launching a winter reading challenge in Beanstalk that goes through the end of February. The challenge will vary by age, range, and who it's targeted for, but however, the core features are including a reading of specific number of books. So for the adults, it's 10 books to read over 2 months, as well as activities that leverage library resources, showcasing our collections. So there's different genres and things like that, and challenges in that way, and ways to have people step outside their normal reading picks for the winter season, as we're all inside a little bit more. Adult services, we will also be piloting our first English conversation circle in January, which I'm very excited for. That will be a 60 to 90 minute session targeted for our intermediate to advanced English language learners to practice speaking English in an informal setting. Each session will have a different theme or topic, but really this first one is going to be introductory to reach that audience a little bit more and see what are things that you want to learn or things that are challenging or social situations you're not as confident in your English speaking skills. So we can create some curriculum and things that sort of create activities and ways for people to practice that, whether that is some role playing, some just general conversation questions. So we can break off in pairs, do small group, do large group, things like that to have more of that cultural exchange as well as ways to build confidence in English speaking skills. Things to look forward to that haven't quite make it onto our calendar just yet, but will be there soon. Christy Goulet will be, she's an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa. She will be giving a class on winter medicines and teepee making. That will be in February, and then returning later in the year to do some additional classes as well. The 50th anniversary of the library display will be coming down from the activity hall and will be replaced most quickly with an abstract geometric art exhibit by Chad Cartenson. He'll also be giving an artist talk and talking about his different pieces that'll be in that exhibit as well. And there'll be some continued different art displays in that hallway in the coming year as well. The Literary Reading Bus will be taking a short hiatus for the months of December and January, but we're returning for a spring round of stops that will also be indoor. It will lead up into our summer route as well. So just stay tuned for more information on all of those. You can always find those on our library calendar and on our website. And that's all I really have for you, unless you have questions for me on the programming side of things.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Lots of great activities as usual. Any questions or comments? All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right. We have come to the end of our agenda. Is there any other business? Comments or questions? All right. We are looking for a motion to adjourn. Okay.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hopefully none opposed. Meeting adjourned.
Happy holidays, everyone.